Hey Navigators, welcome to Frostproof, Florida. Frostproof, yeah. This little town in the middle of Florida is really cool because on either side of this main thoroughfare, it's a lake. This city has a lake on either side. It's pretty cool. So we're gonna take a ride and check it out. Today we're in Polk County, riding through the city of Frostproof, a unique little town surrounded by citrus trees. It's a Florida town like no other. Good morning, Navigators. On the road again. Another Saturday, another sunrise drive. Today we're heading to Frostproof, Florida. Never been there. I've said before that I use this channel to hold myself accountable for taking these rides and being relaxed and taking time off. And today, I gotta tell you, today was one of those days when I woke up, I'm like, yeah, I just want to hit the snooze alarm and go back to bed. But here I am on the road. I'd done so much work, you know. I got the bike on last night. I charged all the cameras, and yeah, I didn't want it to go to waste. So here we are. I'm sure I'll enjoy the ride. I always do. It's kind of like when I was a kid, my mom had a rule. If we woke up and we didn't feel well, she always said, you know, I'm gonna drop you off at school, and if you don't feel well by third period, let me know, and I'll come get you. But the real thing is that we didn't feel well because we didn't want to get out of bed. But once you were out of bed and you'd eaten breakfast and you'd gone to school, you didn't want to have to miss a school day and then have to make up work when you're already there. So it was a good psychological trip by my mom. But I think about that a lot on days like this where, you know, some days you want to stay in bed, you know, get a couple more hours sleep. But this is what I had blocked out today, this ride for this channel. So thank you for joining me, spending some time with me today on the road, and let's have a great time. Hey Navigators, welcome to the ride. So you can see from the map that there are two lakes, Reedy Lake and Lake Clinch, that sit on either side of Frostproof's town center. The main road between the lakes is Wall Street, but it doesn't connect both lakes directly. To get to Lake Clinch, you have to take a small little detour. So let's start there. The settlement in the area now known as Frostproof was established in 1850. This settlement, like many in Central Florida at the time, was set up as a fort and was called Fort Clinch. The fort was named after the local Lake Clinch, which was in turn named after the Seminole War commander Duncan Lamont Clinch. That's a lot of Clinches. The fort was abandoned soon after, and it wasn't until the 1880s that permanent settlers arrived, drawn by the area's abundant hunting and fishing. Now here you can see this cute little house. This is the Girl Scout Little House, and this building has deep roots in the town's history, with Girl Scout activities dating back to the early 1900s. The first Girl Guide troop appeared in 1913, and the Girl Scout troop was formally established in 1922. This little house was built in 1934 and was renovated in 2024. It serves as a significant gathering place for the local Girl Scouts and is affectionately referred to as the Little House or the local Girl Scout hut.
So here is the Ramon Theater, and it was built in 1925 by Vera and Frank Thompson, and it was named after their second son, Raymond, who was born that year. I wonder if any of the other siblings got buildings named after them. Probably not. The theater was designed by architect Leo Elliott. It became a venue for silent movies, complete with a live piano accompaniment. Now, this theater served as the community's only movie theater until it closed in the late 1960s. And in 2008, it celebrated a rebirth and since then has been host to various events. I always love it when theaters get a second life. All right, so this is Reedy Lake, all 3,500 acres of her. It's about 3 times as large as Lake Clinch. Now, Reedy Lake is enticing, isn't it? The morning of the ride, I just wanted to sit on the dock and enjoy the quiet for the rest of the day, but I know that would have disappointed you. It would have made for a very boring video, actually. But it's just a really beautiful lake, especially at this time with the sun glistening off it. Really, really cool. You know, one of the things I get a kick out of when I'm researching these towns is how their names came to be, because it's hardly a direct path. Like, for example, prior to being named Frostproof, the town was named Keystone City. However, it was often confused with Keystone Heights, which is a city in North Florida. Now, W.H. Overrocker applied for the first post office here in 1892 with the name of Keystone City. And for the same reason, the postal authorities disallowed it because there was already Keystone Heights. Now, Joseph Washington Carson suggested Frostproof as a substitute, but Overrocker instead chose Lakemont, which would also make sense because it's between 2 lakes, Lakemont. It's interesting. Now, Carson volunteered, I'm sure out of the kindness of his own heart, to deliver the application to the post office in Fort Meade. And on the way, changed the name from Lakemont to Frostproof, which was approved. Overrocker, to his surprise, was appointed postmaster of Frostproof. The early post office was located on the corner of Wall Street and Carson Avenue, which is Wall Street's that main thoroughfare. And Frostproof was officially incorporated as a town in 1918. Now, here on the left, you can see the old Atlantic Coastline train depot built in 1912, and which has since been turned into Mr. Chris's Coffee Gallery. They roast their own coffee inside, and that money helps keep and maintain this historic landmark. Now, I tried to go inside so I could give you guys a peek of the coffee house, but unfortunately, it was under renovation. So this is the Frostproof City Hall building on Wall Street, and it was built in 1925. What's interesting about this City Hall is that it was a multi-purpose structure that not only hosted City Hall, which would make sense because that's its name, but also the fire and the police departments, the city jail, and had a dance hall upstairs, making it a significant community hub in early Frostproof's history. Now, I wonder if anyone started their evening in the building and the dance hall and ended up in the jail. That would be a short walk of fame. City Hall was later moved into another building nearby, and we'll get into that later. One of the things I enjoyed about this ride was how uncrowded this little town is. So much open space, which is rare when you get towards the shores, either the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, I'm not sure what it's called now, and the Atlantic Ocean. The closer you get to those shores, the more crowded it becomes. So here in the center of the state, it's nice to see that there are still some real small towns with plenty of land available. Now, the vast open spaces is why in the 1920s, thousands of acres of groves and packing houses drove Frostproof's prosperity, making it the center of fresh fruit shipment. Unfortunately, the invention of frozen concentrate orange juice in the 1950s led to the closure of most fresh fruit packing houses and shifted the town's economic landscape. And in the 1960s, actually November 1960, Frostproof changed its official status from a town to a city, which reflected its continued growth. Now this is Snooks Wardlaw Road. What a name for a road. Snooks Wardlaw Road. I have no idea where those two things come from and why they belong together. But Frostproof doesn't have a lot of residents, and it appeared to me that most of them were gathered outside here at the elementary school on the left. And across the street is the middle school, where I believe those runners attend. So when I drove down here and I saw all the cars parked, and there was some, it's hard to see on camera, but there was some sort of like, I don't know if it was like a flea market or some sort of event with tents and things like that, but there were like booths or something like that back there. I'm not really sure what it was. But for such a small town to have what looked like most of its people up early on a Saturday and at the elementary school, I thought, you know what, there's a good chance that the state road may be low traffic, which means I could take a chance and get my Navi on there. And I am so glad I did. This is State Road 17, known as a scenic highway. Now, I'd never ridden on it before, and I had no idea why it was scenic, but it didn't take long to find out. Now, this scenic highway runs nearly 39 miles in the middle of Florida, from Haines City to south of Frostproof. It was officially recognized by the Florida Scenic Highways program in 2005 and is maintained by the Florida Department of Transportation. Now, one of the challenges of capturing these rides is the limitations of the cameras. Like, have you ever looked at a beautiful moon, like a full moon, and then you pulled out your phone to take a picture, and it just can't capture the way you saw it with your eyes? Because mentally, we can zoom in and crop and block out everything you don't want to see. That's why in photography and movies, it takes so much work to capture on film what the world looks like normally. So you're just going to have to trust me that the view of the rows of orange groves above the glistening lake was breathtaking. And it made me understand how, in the Claremont episode, how viewing thousands of acres of citrus groves from the citrus tower could be so enticing. Now I get it. you hungry? That's right, it's time to feed Algo the algorithm. As you know, Google and YouTube employees are not watching videos to see if they should be shared with others. That is handled by algorithms or computer programs that look for triggers to let them know that this video has been watched and who they should share it with. So if you could, push buttons, say things, anything you can do can help. YouTube is quickly becoming the center of AI-created content, and this channel is not one of those. So if you want to support a real person, which is me, writing in real places which you've seen, telling real history that I looked up, then do me a favor and support this video and the channel by clicking buttons and writing things. You don't have to, but if you could, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, here are some Frostproof stats for you. Frostproof is about 19 square miles and has a population of about 3,400 people. There are about 1,400 residences, and the median home value is about $186,000, while the average rent is about $1,000 per month. That's pretty affordable for Florida. As far as the age demographics go, 20% are 17 and under, 7% are between 18 and 24, 11% are between 25 and 34, 13% are between 35 and 54, 17% are between 55 and 64, and 34% are over 65. That's a pretty good distribution throughout all the age groups. It's not surprising that the largest group is retirees, because that's pretty common among Florida anyway. 64% of the population here is white, 26% is Hispanic, 4% are 2 or more races, 3% are black, and 1% are Asian. As far as education, 74% are high school graduates, 2% are attending college, while 12% have graduated college. As far as income goes, the per capita income in Frostproof is about $25,000. That's substantially less than the $43,000 average nationwide. And the median household income is about $39,000, which is again substantially lower than the $79,000 national average. And in Frostproof, about 22% of the population live below poverty. Now, the name Frostproof was also a marketing ploy to convince potential landowners that this town has never had and never would have a frost that could destroy the large citrus-driven economy. However, only 3 years after getting its post office, a frost during the Great Freeze of 1895 killed most of the citrus in Frostproof. That is unfortunate. But the team showed remarkable resilience, adapting to the changing market conditions, and it diversified its economy. So it's no surprise then that Frostproof is home to 2 of Florida's legendary agricultural giants, Ben Hill Griffin Jr. and Lattimore Latt Maxcy. Now, these pioneers controlled most of the ranch and grove land in this part of Florida for years. What's interesting is one of Ben Hill Griffin's descendants was Catherine Harris, who was the former Florida Secretary of State. I don't know if you remember her. I vaguely remember her, but I didn't know she was related. Also, Ben Hill Griffin was a University of Florida graduate and donated enough of his money to his alma mater that the stadium in Gainesville where the Gators play football is known as Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field. Now, he's also beloved by Gator fans for being one of the boosters that talked Steve Spurrier into becoming the Gator head football coach. And Spurrier is such a beloved Gator hero that the entire name of the venue is now Steve Spurrier Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. That's a lot of name dropping, right? Fortunately, most Gator fans still just call it the Swamp. Now, as I rode back to town, I passed this massive building with no windows, and I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, it's huge. Now, it turns out it's tied to the local citrus industry, which is not a surprise, and this is a cold storage facility run by Peace River Citrus Products. And this facility is part of their storage and distribution operation where orange concentrates and frozen orange and grapefruit pulp cells are held for future shipment. The facility can load and unload from either tanker trucks or box trucks. And what's really cool, my analytical chemist brother would love this, is that it also has a full quality control laboratory. This large windowless building has approximately 75,000 square feet of freezer space for up to 56,000 drums of product and tank farms for 5.4 million gallons of concentrate. That is a lot of citrus. It's also a good reminder that these small towns survive off of just a few large businesses. If any of them close down, cute towns like this can quickly turn into ghost towns, like the old coal towns in West Virginia. Now, if you watch enough of these Navi rides, you know I love old schools. Well, this is Frostproof City Hall, designed by architect Leo Elliott. But it was originally the Frostproof High School, built in 1926, and designed in the popular Mediterranean revival style of the time. The T-shaped building features towers at the east and west ends of the main wing. And this old Frostproof High School was added to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places on November 13th, 1997. And this cute little rural town celebrated its centennial existence in 2018.
Woo! It is hot. Hey, Navigators, that was an awesome ride. This is why I just fight through those morning blahs, you know, because this downtown when I got here nobody was here. Everything's closed on these small towns on the weekends anyway. But you're never sure what sort of town you're going into, you know? But this ended up being one of the most adorable little towns. It's so quiet out here. It's just so peaceful. And that view on that scenic highway, that made the whole trip worth it. I go through these things on Google Maps to kind of get an idea where I'm going before I get there. But nothing compares to actually riding your bike on the road with that beautiful view. And that's another reason I get here so early, is because I want to go on some of these places that would probably not be safe on an Navi during a busy time. So I waited for traffic, I got out of the way whenever I needed to. They had enough of a bike lane / emergency lane for me to get in, but for the most part, the road was relatively empty. And so I got to just ride and enjoy. It was so awesome. Oh, and one other thing is I saw, like, right in front of my truck here is this little boutique, clothes and stuff like that. And this young woman had like a grand opening with her family. She just opened up her own store, and it was so cool. I was hoping it would be something like where I could get a drink and I could be like their first, non-related customer, but none of those clothes in there would fit me, and they're the wrong gender. So anyway, so what a great ride. It was quick. It was awesome. The weather was beautiful. The lakes were amazing. It's really cool. Anyway, thank you so much for spending your time with me today. It means a lot.
All right, Navi-Gators, thank you so much for joining me on this ride today. As you know, I believe that time is the most precious treasure that we have. And the fact that you spend any of that with me means the world to me. I am 100% serious about that. So thank you so much. So remember, when you're out on the road, to be safe, to be kind, to be generous to those around you, and most of all, have fun. All right, I'll see you guys next time.